YouTube Nation, Mayfair TV, aka Me TV, aka Crime and Punishment, and I know you guys see the title up top, talk about Penn State, but no, we're talking about different crime. Before I get to Penn State, now guys, I've shown you this for a while now, I've been talking about it, I've shown you time and time again examples of people doing this wrong, alright? I showed you since last year, alright, when Marvel did it, when ESPN did it, when certain athletes did it. Well, now the NBA wants to do it, trying to use the AKA, but as usual, messes up.
We're back in Orlando. Look at Larry Legend, a.k.a. Larry Bird, 2012 NBA Executive of the Year.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I have to explain. I'm going to explain this to all you little meat rods, all you little wannabes. All right, on live TV, you did this and you messed up. I will explain. An AKA, and I shouldn't have to explain this, an AKA is an alias. You know what that means? That means your real name doesn't go second, idiot. It means that it should have been Larry Bird, a.k.a. Larry Legend. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not Larry Legend, a.k.a. Larry Bird. You did this on live TV and you look bad. Now get off the TV. Get off. What's wrong with you guys? And you know what? Here's the thing with the NBA as well, all right? Because the NBA has done this time and time again, trying to use something that's hip or cool and sell it as a product. And then when they feel it's ran its course, they get rid of it. I'm going to explain, because we saw this with Allen Iverson, did we not? We saw that they just pretty much took the image of Allen Iverson and said, we want to get rid of this, after he made so much money for him. You sit here and said, those type of actions, AKAs, whatever, people acting, because you label it as thuggish. That's what you label it as, all right? And then you try to turn around and use it so you can have a selling point, so that you can be hip, so that you can be cool to the people who are watching your show. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage, all right? But this is what the NBA does. They're walking hypocrites. I will talk about the NBA a little bit more and their shenanigans later in this video. I have a lot to talk about the NBA, I'm telling you, because what they've done is ridiculous. But I need to get on Penn State. Penn State, I'm telling you now, all right? You fans, you people who love Penn State, you graduate or whatever, I understand me right now. It is not all of you, all right? I'm talking about what I've seen on Twitter, what I've seen just in general. It is sickening the way you are sitting here and defending Penn State. I will talk about that later, okay? But don't get it twisted. I don't want to lump all of you together. I'm sure there are a number of people in Penn State who are absolutely against what they did, okay? Yeah, I'm sure there are. I even saw the banner when the plane was flying through, what was it, Happy Valley, and it said, if you don't take the statue down, we will. So I don't want to lump all Penn State people together. Understand that. But you people have some problems, okay? And I want to talk about this, because Penn State, you deserve everything that you get, all right? The penalties that were thrown down to you, if you ask me, weren't enough. As far as I'm concerned, you should have got the death penalty. You should have, all right? But people are saying that would have been too harsh, and people are already complaining right now. It's too harsh. Now, look, I put it like this. ESPN ran a little bit. They talked to Jay Bilas, and who's absolutely has no clue what he's talking about, all right? He does bring up a good point, though, about in the press conference, the NCAA did not bring up, not once, all right, you know, the figureheads of Penn State did not mention their names at all, did not have any opinion of them at all, which is very interesting. However, he goes on to say that the penalties towards Penn State weren't hard. I mean, they were too harsh. They were too harsh. And that he doesn't understand how this, you know, this can happen when you're sitting here and punishing future scholarships and players and things of that nature. I will explain it, because obviously he doesn't know what the hell is going on, but yet he's on TV to talk about it. It makes no sense to me. So let's hear what he has to say about this real quick.
I have no problem with the NCAA accepting the free report as facts. I think that's absolutely fine. But what I do have a problem with is them stopping short of the individuals involved. You know, if this were an athlete or a coach, they wouldn't have stopped there. But it's administrators, and that's okay. You know, Joe Paterno's dead. There's no criminal prosecution coming his way. He's not going to be prosecuted. There's nothing to stop the NCAA from commenting on him, and there's nothing to stop the NCAA from commenting on Graham Spanier. And I find it really interesting that not just in today's press conference, Jay, but period, I have not heard one president of an NCAA member institution say one word about Graham Spanier, and I find that unconscionable.
It is interesting, to say the least. I know it's hard for you to divorce yourself from the actual execution of the process. You did say that you have no problem with the NCAA accepting the findings in the free report. If we accept those, and short of the fact that they didn't really name individuals, are you okay with the penalties that were handed out, or do you think that they were overly harsh?
I think they were very harsh. I am not a fan, Jay, of prospective punishment, the idea that you punish the innocent going forward. I don't think that this was an issue of an institution as much as it was of a conspiracy of silence of the leaders of that institution. And I don't buy sort of the idea that this was done solely to advance the success of Penn State on the football field. I think this was in similar character to what we saw in sex abuse scandals in the church or the Boy Scouts, where an institution was trying to be protected, but it wasn't like these were recruiting violations trying to gain an advantage. I don't believe in the taking away of scholarships. I don't think that's appropriate punishment for educational institutions to take away future educational opportunities. I just think that's the wrong way to go about things. I do think it's interesting that a $60 million penalty fine was put down, whereas the NCAA is constantly saying these are nonprofit organizations. All the money that's made is put back into the mission of the university, and that money almost necessarily is going to come from outside of athletics, and it's going to hurt things that the NCAA says are supposed to be put in front of athletics. It's just a whole lot of, this raises a whole lot of questions. It raises more questions than it answers, and I think it may cause more potential problems than it solves. I think this entire matter was outside the scope and reach of the NCAA. I think regional minds can differ. I don't think anybody quarrels with the fact that everybody feels that these actions shocked the conscience. What happened at Penn State was a horrible tragedy. But going forward, you still have to look at what is in the best interest of the association for the betterment of the whole. And I'm not sure this accomplishes what they think it accomplishes.
Oh, no, that's not all. After he said that put the bug in the ear for everyone to take that excuse and run with it. Whoever wanted to defend Penn State. That means players, alumni. That means students that are there already defending them. Yes. All this all of a sudden came down to you shouldn't punish the future for things that happened in the past. You shouldn't do that. Understand, I'm going to knock all that out the box today. But first, I want you to hear the students say it themselves.
Taking the wins was very difficult because, in my mind, Sandusky's actions didn't, the players didn't gain any benefit from it. So it's very difficult to punish the players for the past 11 years, 12 years, and what they've done.
I don't think they should have the authority to do something like this. This is not football, and they should. I don't think they should have the authority to take goals away from us. Money, the wins, we didn't cheat in football. That's unnecessary.
I was very shocked at first, but now I just hope as a student body we can really come together, digest this, and just move on.
So as you can see, that's what they want to run with. So now, I'm going to break this down. The athletes that are there at Penn State, understand the NCAA has already given them a way out, meaning they can transfer without penalty and keep their scholarship if they decide to go to another place and play immediately. All right, the athletes are taken care of. The future and all, they're taken care of. Now, this is what I don't understand, because Penn State students are saying, well, this was something that happened, back then, and we shouldn't be punished. Understand, all right? This went on. This is nothing that happened like 2 or 3 years ago, all right? This happened for years, and they concealed this, all right? Because why? Because they wanted to keep their football program intact. People were saying, well, it's not just a football program. Yeah, you're right, it's not, because it goes all the way up to the president of this place. They all concealed this. Don't you understand that? Why? To keep the football program intact, which is their image intact, which means if they bring in scholarships for people to come in, they're looking to go to a bowl game, which means what, people? The honeypot. It's about money. This is not about your love for Penn State. This is not about you graduating Penn State. This case is about people who were silenced and molested and abused. Or they have to live with this for the rest of their life, all right? While you're only thinking about football, only thinking about Penn State. That is garbage, all right? And the things that I've seen on Twitter is absolutely ridiculous. People are saying, that, it's good that Penn State got this penalty. And all these people come out, you're blah, you're this, you're that. They call people a bunch of names because people actually want justice for a crime. They want justice because people are mad that they won't be able to go see Penn State in a bowl game. They won't be able to see them play football, really. You have to be kidding me, right? This dismantles the football team because we don't know how they're going to play now. You got to be kidding me. This is bigger than football. This is bigger than your love for Penn State. This is bigger than sports. What don't you understand? All right? And this is it's so sickening to see something like this happen. Yeah. I don't understand why anybody, and I mean absolutely anybody, would think that this is not about money. This is about power. This is about money. This is about those scholarships coming in. This is about bowl games. They don't give a damn about those people. If they did, they would have did something a long time ago. And everyone's like, well, Joe Pa isn't the only scapegoat. Joe Pa said himself he should have did more. He said himself before he died. Of course, now he can't say anything due to the fact that, he's gone. He's deceased. He actually got the easy way out on this one, all right? But everyone else, I'll put it like this. Everyone else that is involved, that's alive, they should, and I put it like this, that should be a criminal case coming up. They should be charged with something, all right? Like I said, it is a conspiracy to conceal. That's what it is. But I'm sure we will see more civil suits come along the way, because if Sandusky's guilty and the free report came out, all right, and now the penalties are thrown down, that says right then and there, you're guilty. So everyone involved should be targeted as far as I'm concerned. They should be moving targets. Every time they breathe, they're a moving target. This is ridiculous. Any of you students who think that it's wrong, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong up here, all right? Now, I'll put it like this. This doesn't affect you students that are there now, all right? Because you can't jump in the stands and wear white paint and everything and blue and watch your little nittly line, do all those little push-ups and all that type of stuff. I don't care. I don't care. You understand? The thing is, people don't understand is I support Penn State when it came to football, all right? I did. When it came to, supporting the local places, Penn State, Temple, Drexel, I supported all the colleges. But so it's not like I'm just all of a sudden just, I hate Penn State. No, you have to start separating. I told you guys before, you have to separate real life and sports. You cannot let it blend together. When something this bad happens, you cannot, and I mean absolutely cannot, all of a sudden defend it. That shouldn't be your knee-jerk reaction. We saw when Joe Pa was fired, what they do. Go out there and damn rioted. You gotta be kidding me, all right? You're lucky they didn't take the statue down, but had to take the head off first of the statue, all right? But they just covered it up. As far as I'm concerned, it's not enough. Penn State, you deserve more than this, all right? Because this went on, like I said, for so long. This is beyond 2-3 year gap. It shouldn't have happened to begin with, all right? And everyone says, and this is what kills me, what they did was horrendous, it was a tragedy, but, now, I'm not trying to hear but. I'm not trying to hear that, all right? There's no excuse. Let them take responsibility for once. They got caught. Because I guarantee you like this, if no one came out and said anything, this would still be going on. They still wouldn't have said anything. They wouldn't have come out by themselves and said, yeah, we messed up and, and we have to correct this. They didn't come out on their own. No. Someone blew the whistle on them. That's what happened. And McQuarrie, I put it like this. McQuarrie, obviously, for those who have been catching on with this case, and following up, I should say, before Sandusky was guilty, when he got there, when you read the counts of what he was guilty, all right, what was the first thing he wasn't guilty for? The McQuarrie case. He wasn't found guilty for that, all right? So the person who initially blew the whistle on him and said he saw whatever, guess what? He wasn't charged for that, all right? It was all the other people who came out, that's right, who came out, and now, and that's what he was guilty for. So understand, McQuarrie, he just raised awareness, but he lost his case. You have to understand that. Now, I will put it like this. Since this has happened, more people are coming out now. They're saying that Sandusky, touched them in odd ways and molested them. All of a sudden, after he's guilty. Look, I understand. I'm sure, because I don't know the situation, I am sure that it's hard for you to come out and admit it. I am sure. But also, you have to look at it like this. Why would you wait until after you found out he was guilty? Is that confidence, or are you just looking for money? There has to be something else to this. All right? Like I said, this is not going away anytime soon. Students, and I've seen players, there's something wrong with all of you if you think that this is, this is too harsh. There's something wrong with you. Anybody who thinks that this is too harsh, there's something wrong with you. End of story. Bottom line, I don't want to keep talking about this because I'm just going to get more pissed off than what I already am. I'm going to say something I'm going to regret. I know it. But you know what? I want to move on. All right? I want to talk about the NBA, so I'd switch back the gears. I understand you guys see football and everything. I'm going to talk about it. Look, the NBA, for those who do not know, if that was not enough, the NBA, David Stern has decided, that's right, has decided that now we can start putting ads on jerseys. That's right. So European people from overseas, I'm sure you're already used to this because of soccer, all right, or football, or whatever you want to call it over there. I usually call you guys F-Series, you know that, all right? But understand, now it's coming to America. We talked about this before, how they wanted to make the league, they wanted the rules to be more European-like. They said that for basketball. And then we found out about, the World Basketball Championship. Then we found out all this stuff about Team USA. Now we're finding out that they want to put ads on the jerseys, as if the NBA doesn't get enough revenue as it is. You understand what's going on here? I believe they said 72%, was it? 72 to 75% of fans in the NBA has said they do not like ads on jerseys. And yet, small percentage, very small percentage, said it's okay. I believe it's in the 20s, actually, in percentage-wise. But it doesn't matter what the fans think at this point, because people haven't made a big enough deal. Because when you don't say anything and stern the shareholders sit around and come up with these ideas to make more money while bastardizing the sport that you love, you have to understand that something needs to be done. And the thing is, the media doesn't want to say anything about it. The media is not coming out and saying anything. As loudmouth as I am, but then again, there's even a bigger loudmouth like Stephen A. Smith, who actually knows David Stern. He hasn't come out and said anything about it, really, has he? No, he hasn't been against it, because if he's against something, he's going to let you know. If you don't believe me, you can watch the debates between him and Skip Bayless about Tim Tebow, all right? But you have to understand that when all these guys want the spotlight, when it comes to the media, when something like this is, really isn't called for, they're nowhere to be found. That's what it comes down to. But since they're already starting to do this with the jerseys, let's see the mock-ups of what people have done just for fun. Talk about selling your soul. And I will put a link in the info bar. There has been a writer who said the NBA is selling its soul. And I'm going to put a link in the info bar, the percentage of fans who are against it and who's for it, with it as well for you guys. Now, I need to talk about football. All right, for those who don't know, last week, Michael Vick came out and said that the Eagles could be a dynasty. There's a chance it could be a dynasty. That's what he said. And since then, there has been so much backlash from what is being said with the Eagles. And it's crazy. Everyone's saying, here goes the Eagles again, being arrogant. Here they go again, talking. Look, let's get something straight. Michael Vick did not say we were going to be a dynasty. He said there could be a chance. Key words, could be a chance. What don't you understand? And the thing is, ESPN is just taking this and running with it about how bad we are and how the Eagles are going, they're going to be trash because they just don't know when to shut up and things of that nature. It's crazy. They're still talking about it. They were talking about today. This happened last week. Is news really that slow that you need to keep talking about this? And here's the thing about ESPN, all right? Because after they trashed the Eagles about, saying that we could be a dynasty, they turn around and pick us to win the East. How do you trash us and then kiss our ass? How do you do that? Look, Eagles fans, understand this season is going to be a very long season for us. Every loss that we take, and we are going to lose games, every loss that we take, fans are going to be salivating to say two things. Dream team, dynasty. That's what they're going to say. Now, look, I understand why people do have a problem with it, okay? You're saying dynasty because you haven't won a Super Bowl. I understand that, okay? So you can't say you're going to win multiple Super Bowls. But look, I will put it like this. Before the season starts, and I know, every player on every team believes that they are going to go to the Super Bowl. Why? It's confidence. That's what you need. No one's going to come out on camera and say, oh, what do you think about, the Eagles season this year or whatever your team season is here? And the player says, we're going to suck. We're going to only make it to the first round of the playoffs and then leave. We're going to make an early exit. I mean, nobody wants to hear that. You know that and I know that. That's not what they're playing for, all right? So I understand the confidence. Now, here's the problem I do have with the media. The media has come out and asked Andy Reid, did he have a problem with Vic's statements? And Andy Reid said, no, he doesn't. Now, I'll put it like this. Where was the media asking Andy Reid about the players threatening to punch fans and threatening to, hurt fans and their sons and their families? Huh? Why didn't you ask Andy Reid about that? You didn't. No. But you can ask Andy Reid about this. That makes no sense. Look, I have no problem with what Michael Vick said because it's confidence. I don't know why people keep thinking that he's automatic just because he said there's a chance that all of a sudden that correlates to we're going to win a bunch of titles. I don't understand that. Where did that come from? Are you people that stupid? It's impossible. I understand. Look, I understand people don't like the Eagles, all right? And they will look for any little thing to jump on us about. I understand in the past, our players don't know when to shut their mouths, okay? I've done many videos on that. You guys know that. And I understand that the fans are hurt, and some of them are torn because they love the team, but then they don't know when to shut the hell up. And some of them have, either gotten used to it, or some of them are just like, look, I just want to stay away from it. Because, and I definitely understand that, okay? But you have to understand, what Michael Vick did was not wrong. If Michael Vick had came out and said anything less at this point, after the season that we had last year, and the excuses that we didn't have time to gel, and you gotta be kidding me. I guess the team that won the Super Bowl, they didn't have the same, they had about as much as the same time we had. They won the Super Bowl. There's no, that's why I don't buy these excuses. Didn't have time. They were finally clicking at the end. No, they weren't finally clicking at the end. I don't want to hear it. And I won't believe it until I see it this season, all right? But you have to understand, them using the excuse that they didn't have enough time to get it together with a new defense coordinator and all that crap, I don't want to hear it, all right? Other teams got it together. Other teams prevailed. Other teams won the Super Bowl. It's almost like you're disrespecting the entire league when you use that excuse. Everyone had the same amount of time. That's what it comes down to. And if you're looking for individual effort from players, that's another thing. Now, we'll talk about players in a minute because Asante Samuel, for those who don't know, yeah, I'll have to find a link in the info bar for you guys. All right, I'll have to put one in there. Asante Samuel goes on Twitter crying about Eagles fans, sits here and says, Atlanta Falcons fans, because he plays for Atlanta now, okay? You need to back me on this. I need more Atlanta Falcons fans to combat these Eagles fans. But you know what? It doesn't matter because they're going to bag on their team later. That's what Asante Samuel said. First off, Asante Samuel, you're a little coward. If you have to go and run for help from a fan base that doesn't know that you haven't played for yet, so they're not going to defend you really, okay? If you have to go and scream for help on a social network because Eagles fans are jumping on you, you're a coward. You can't be a man and handle it yourself. You can't be a professional and just ignore it. No, you can't, can you? No. You got to go and cry about it to the fan base that you just signed a contract with. Like I said, you didn't want to be here. You were soft. Jeffrey Lurie, time and time again, Andy Reid, time and time again, we saw on camera last year. They hugged you. They told you that they wanted you to stay. I mean, they did everything pretty much to kiss your ass or pretty much jack you off. That's what they did. They told you everything you need to know. Just because we went and got those guys does not mean that we were trying to replace you. If anything, it's just adding an addition to make our defense stronger. You couldn't be a team player. You cried all season last season because of it. And on top of it, your play was horrendous. You were getting burned on straights. All right? You weren't jumping routes. No, these guys were killing you on the routes. These receivers were burning you, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You are gone now. You are trash. Like I said, Asante. That's what you are, Asante. You will always be that now, since you want to come out and take a run at Eagles fans, real fans. What's wrong with you? You should know better than that. But you know what? It's amazing how after all this Michael Vick talk, and what people perceive the Eagles to be, even though they're only going by what the media says and not what us fans, thinking, because we're here in the city. We see the games, we see the players, we interact and everything. They don't know any of that. So they think that we're just celebrating way too early before the season's even started. I should show you right now what happens when you celebrate just a little too early.
Now we take you to a road race in Italy. See the rider in front there? He's now on the left in the lead. He thinks he has crossed the finish line. He's celebrating. Sorry, buddy. Still one more lap to go. Everybody's passing him. And if you take a look, he's still celebrating. Yeah, I got this. And he's falling further and further back.
What a jackass. You gotta be kidding me. Let's get something straight here, all right? The Eagles are not celebrating anything. The fans are not celebrating anything. You don't see any parades going on. You don't see any of us screaming Super Bowl, even though at this point, after what happened, it is Super Bowl or bust, all right? Understand that. There's no other way around it. They have to perform well this year. But all you fans who are against us, understand, when it comes down to it, regardless what happens this season between us, our fan base, and the players, guess what? When you try to come after us, we're going to come after you. We don't care, all right, when it comes to that. You let us take care of our own trash in our own house. You get what I'm saying? Let us deal with it. Stop listening to the media. Stop listening to all these radio dudes. Stop it, all right? Because they don't know what the hell is going on. If you got to keep bringing up the same topic every day for a week, you don't have nothing else to talk about, bruh. That's the problem. When there's all this sports going on and all these problems, you still talk about Michael Vick a week later, huh? It's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, I want to give a shout out real fast. A nice big shout out to Peyton Manning. For those who don't know, what happened over the weekend with the Dark Knight shooting, it was tragic what happened, and I really don't want to get into it because I'm telling you now, I'm going to talk about it maybe down the line, maybe in video because there's something about that. But Peyton Manning, not too long ago, made a phone call to, all the victims, all the survivors to see how they were doing. He didn't have to do that, but it was very nice of him to do. And it goes to show you that regardless how many idiots, like Aaron Berry, for those who don't know, the Detroit Lions, was arrested, there are also good football players out there who are actually trying to do good things. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.